shuffled my boards onto my deck with my hand on my dress.
And welcome back to round 8 of the One Piece Championship, Regional Championships here at the UK Games Expo live at the NEC in Birmingham. My name is Ben Bluey Fitzpatrick here, back once again with you with the wonderful Poker Taj. Taj, we're coming towards the end of day 1, the pointy end, and finally we're seeing a deck that you picked as one of the favourites to take this thing.
Yeah, Smoker, one of my sort of wild cards for the tournament, is finally on the table. So yeah, we got Smoker versus Law here. Really looking forward to seeing this matchup. I built a Smoker deck, just started playtesting with it. So again, Law's my main choice, but Smoker's such a nice mechanic, I think. Black really did get, just being introduced in set 2, got a huge bulk of cards come through, the starter deck as well.
Alrighty, One Piece players, this is round 8. You may begin.
Yeah, we're seeing Davor and Pedro. Pedro is playing at 6-1, so it's 6-1 record. So he's currently playing the up pair. Davor is playing the down pair currently, with there being 3 undefeated players at this stage in the tournament. Obviously, we're getting right towards the end, round 8 of 9. And we will see how we're going to be able to, what we're going to be able to see, and who's going to be able to take this one out on top. It is the Smoker deck that is the undefeated at the moment. Davor coming in this one will be at the top of your screen at 7-0, and then it will be the Trafalgar Law player Pedro at the bottom of the screen.
Ben B for the buddy battles. Can you please come to One Piece table 121?
The third time in a row
B
that we've seen Law
for One Piece buddy battles.
Well.
Can you please come to table 121?
Is it going to be third time a charm? What's the sort of matchup?
Yeah,
like?
I think this one's going to be a bit more difficult for Law. Law obviously depends on getting those low cost characters out very quickly. Smoker's very much about reducing those low cost characters down to 0 cost and manipulating that and popping them and having other things come out as well, you know, like Kobe coming out and being able to reduce to KO characters as well. So yeah, we'll see how both players play out. I think it's going to be really important how the game starts for both players.
Yeah,
that's going to be really important in seeing how this progresses.
So we are now underway in round 8 of 9. We've just got one more round after this one, and then following that it will be the top cut to 16 for tomorrow. That'll start off, I believe it's a 10 a.m. start, British time, BST, here in the UK, but of course follow along to the official OPE Twitch channel and keep the notifications on so that you do not miss our top cut for tomorrow. So the start off is a Curly Dadan from Pedro, the Law player, at the bottom of the screen. I believe that he was a Machino that he had fetched off of the top.
Pretty much looked like it was, which again could be used for great effect next turn.
Now we will go into a Smoker, and that one looks like a Tsuru from the OPO2. Or is that in fact, that's the starter deck Tsuru, I beg your pardon. It is right character, wrong type of card. But this one's an interesting one. This one's just a blocker as opposed to the OPO2 Tsuru that is a 2k
Kalusi 420
well
for the buddy battles. Can you please come to One Piece table 121?
I don't usually see this, but yeah, it's a blocker. Like you say, 2k, 2-cost blocker. Pretty good to get a blocker out nice and early. You know, you don't want to leave yourself too exposed because you know how quickly that Law deck's going to come out. But there we go.
Ooh, Nekomamushi. This is a card we haven't seen a lot of nowadays. It feels like it's come a bit out of favour.
Since Set 2 came out, a lot of players have dropped it from their deck, but showing that, again, to great effect. You can use it to rest one of your opponent's characters and swing in and just take it out.
And now seeing a Nami as well to try and keep this Law train moving. We'll hopefully be trying to look for probably a Roronoa Zoro here. We'll see what he can find. It's going to be a Brook that Pedro will find, whether that was the only target or not. But
I think there was a Gum Gum Jet Pistol there as well, but probably you don't want that this early on. You don't need it this early on, but and I think there's one in hand as well. So yeah, using the wise move there, playing another Nami there to do another search.
Even wiser when you know that you're going to go digging
One
straight
Piece
away
players in the buddy battle event, you may begin playing.
So just
One
looking
Piece
for those
buddy,
low costers
if you
early
need
on
rolling,
initially,
please put your hand in
so
the
that
air.
you're able to flood the board by turn 3 and then start setting off your Law leader ability.
Well, next turn now, Pedro here is going to have 6 Don open, got that chopper in hand, to put a blocker in play, and then that's it. You can start using that ability now with Law to then start doing the shenanigans and putting 5 costs out for a cost of 2. and potentially getting that Trafalgar Law blocker out as well to pop another card back into your hand and then be able to play something 3 cost for free as well. So yeah, interesting and great start for Pedro there.
Well, now here comes the Kuzan. On play, draw a card, and when attacking, you have to give up to one of your opponent's characters -4 cost during their turn. So this is where the cost reduction starts to come into play. We'll see if the Davor is going to have enough in the tanker, is going to have enough
One piece players, this is the final call for people signing up for buddy battles. If you'd like to play a buddy battle, please come to One Piece table 121.
Turn for Pedro in this following turn.
Yeah.
So Sixton ready and waiting, as you rightfully said there earlier on, Taj. And we'll see what is going to be the play and going to be the line here for Pedro. Of course, needs to win this game to try and really solidify himself a place in tomorrow's top cut for top 16. Davor can afford to take a loss in this round. Probably feels a little bit more comfortable as a swing coming in is countered away.
Countered with a
Borsellino.
big blocker, Borsellino there.
Yeah.
Is a 1k counter, but very useful card to have in play as well. It's a 6k when it's a blocker, 5k on the board when it's attacking. But yeah, it's a shame that had to be used as a counter though.
It's interesting because I'm looking at the smoker list to my right hand side, and it looks a very defensive smoker style list, but we've seen this a couple of times in previous events, in previous regional championships around the world. These smoker lists that like to favour some of the blockers and things like that. There's only 2 Sengoku in this list and 4 Rosinante, so to help out with that kind of extra defensive solidification.
Counter there, but with a Tashigi.
Ooh, and there's
attack from Nami there.
And there's a jet pistol as well to get rid of the Kuzan, so no cost reduction is going to be happening on the crackback here on Davor's following turn.
Pretty successful turn there, you know, to do that. Reduced a couple of counters from hand there. Also got rid of that Kuzan in play, so yeah. And still has full board presence. One blocker in play now.
Yeah.
5 characters in play. You've got a green one there and a red characters that you can put back into hand, so yeah.
So now we see a swing in with the Smoker leader. This one's going into the Makino, so would need 5k's worth of counter or the chopper to run in the way.
Just block it with the chopper.
Now 4 is going to replace Kuzan once again. So that's the second Kuzan burned through now for Davor. 3 Dons still left active. And we'll see what the follow-up can be. Does have, it looks like Garp, the 2-cost Garp in hand there. I think I saw there was a blocker, Don Quixote, Rosinante in there as well. Just rolls off the tap really nicely, that.
Yeah.
So we'll see how Davor can perhaps try and protect this. It's just going to be a pass.
Pass is over, yeah, okay. So back over to Pedro. Let's have a look.
It's like 8 Don now active and ready to go for Pedro. Did lose 1 piece of ball presence, having to commit a blocker to stop the Makino being taken down.
I think Pedro's got 8 Don to play with here. I can see a Gum Jet pistol coming against Suzanne. I think there is one in hand there. Still has blockers. I think there's a chopper in hand, Capone in hand as well.
I've just seen the Capone,
just seen blockers Capone available, so
as well as the jet pistol that you mentioned. So that one looking like it might be primed, ready to reload and fire for Pedro. First, we're going to see the Makino resting, boosting up a Nami.
5k attack from Nami
into the currently 4 life of Davor. Now it is going to be 3.
Yeah.
We'll reduce and we'll see where we go from here. Another 5k is going to go into leader once again. Can you afford to start taking too many of these little 5k swings and pokes? There's an event in hand. It's Shockwave I can see in hand there for Davor. There's going to be a 1k counter.
Yeah. The thing about this smoker deck is some of your counters are really big characters, and you feel so reluctant to get rid of him as a counter.
Yeah.
So it's difficult getting that balance of, right, do I counter, do I keep it in hand to be able to play it? You know, you've got to be managing your life well in this game, and sometimes you just have to sacrifice that character in hand in order to maintain your life.
And it's what we were talking about earlier on in the day as well, when we did see the little glimpse of Black with Garp all the way back in round 1, that even the cards that are 2k counters, the cards that usually include in your deck just to throw away as 2ks and that, you know, you're happy to commit them as such, there are some great cost reduction based effects on those 2k counters.
Yeah, absolutely.
So here comes Brooke. That's going to put Rested Don underneath the Neko Mamushi, who's now going to go and swing.
Yep.
Counting up the Don as well now. Pedro has left. He's got 6 to play with. Now he's going to fire off that Shockwave.
Yep.
And that is going to KO the Brooke as well.
Smart move, getting rid of one of the 2k counters there, knowing that potentially that could have been pinged back into hand and utilised again.
And especially with the on-play effect that Brooke has, we've seen that a couple of times in these past couple of rounds about how good that paying the 2 for the Brooke, using the 2 that you've just paid as they've just been rested to slide under another character or leader and swing away.
Yeah, Pedro really is testing his opponent here by just going in with 5k swings and saying, right, what are you going to do? You're going to counter? You're going to not?
And now there's the
Not
jet
overcommitting.
pistol. There's the jet pistol that's been fired off. So just reducing once again the solitary board presence that Davor had to nothing. We won't see a law ability used yet.
Yeah.
But
Trying to be efficient with a Don there, Pedro. Over to Davor now. Let's see what Davor's got to do.
But Pedro's controlling the board really, really nicely at the moment, not letting Davor get any kind of juice going, any kind of engine flowing or anything. I don't think we've even seen any cards' cost being reduced once so far in this turn, in this game, I should say.
Yeah, not utilising that ability from what I can remember from Law once, as you say. Just using what's on board there.
So Davor just picking up. He's going to 5k swing into the Machino once again.
Top block probably, I would say.
More than likely. I don't think there's enough counter power to get up to 6k in hand, and even if there was, there's 3 cards in hand. Still 1 Don up, but he will go with the shot back.
Yeah, absolutely was the right play. I think he's got Capone in hand anyway, so, you know, he's still got the blocker you can bring out.
And even with the 1 Don that's being shown by Pedro, if Pedro is running Radical Beam, it's an event that's been popularised a lot over this OPO2 format. You probably don't want to waste it and use it on a Machino. Now here comes the Sakazuki.
Yep, takes out a big ability to take out anything up to, I think, 5 cost, but decides to take out
the Machino this time.
Which is sensible. You know, it's giving that Nami 3k every turn, and that Nami's been doing a lot of damage just with 5k attacks. So yeah, smart move.
Yeah, and follows it up with a Garp as well. Garp from OPO2, 3k, 2 cost. It is a 2k counter, but this is backing up exactly what we were saying earlier, Taj, about the effects being so valuable on 2k counters. Don X2 when attacking, KO one of your opponent's characters with a cost of 0. And that's going to be easy to reach against Trafalgar Law.
Yeah, absolutely. You know, is it the Monkey D got from? I think that's
OPO2 Monkey D Garp. That looks like 2 drop. So over to Pedro's turn now. He has all 10 Don available. He's spreading them out. You see he's got 2 just off to the left-hand side, probably just keeping that 1 to his side, so he's got a visual representation in his mind that these are the 2 that I need to save if I want to use my leader's ability.
Yeah, absolutely.
But still needs to find 2 bodies to flood in order to fill the requirements.
Yeah. And now we've got that Garp on board. It just adds a bit of more of a threat, really, because with the ability of Smoker, being able to put 1 Don on it, you can reduce, you can -1 one of your opponent's characters. That means the 1 costs that Pedro's been utilising up until now are a threat every turn, because that Garp can start popping them. So yeah.
So now here's a hard play of the Law. It's going to bring back Neko Mamushi, play it back down and tap it down.
Yep. He wants to get rid of that Garp, and that's a sensible move. You don't want that Garp hanging around. It's going to disrupt the Law players' low-cost cards out there, and you want board presence. You want to make sure you've got as many characters as possible. So
especially when there are two very juicy Namis with one cost looping over the top left corners of their heads, and just a simple swing going in there, nothing for Davor to do about it. He has to concede the gap going down.
Yeah.
So following up with the Capone, and now here is going to go the leader ability of Trafalgar Law. I was pretty sure that was he's turned it sideways. Yep, indeed, there goes the Nami. So he can either play down a green card or play nothing at all. He is going to play a second Block of Law. And is he going to choose to use the Block of Law and chain that? He is. He's just going to loop the Nami. That's a really, really strong play.
Exactly. And does a search. Another 2k counter in hand. Smart move. And you've got big bodies on board, which are blockers as well. 3 blockers now. 2 large body blockers.
Yeah.
Looking promising.
2 large body blockers, like you say. 1 weenie in Capone, and an extra 2k counter as well. Just to be sure, just in case anything does start getting reduced and start being taken out. And now just a simple 6k swing from Law Leader is going to go into life. No trigger from Davor, and off he will go. Up to 10 Don now, finally, is Davor. And we say finally, obviously, because of how efficient Trafalgar Law is with its Don utilisation.
Are we going to see the 10k Kuzan come down? I don't know if it's in hand or not. You'd expect it to be in this deck, but no, it's not in hand. So
not there is the secret rare Kazan at the moment. 3 copies being run in the deck.
Going for 7k with Sakazuki.
And be happy to take that one as well, the life there, Pedro. Probably just wanting the extra card in hand, I think.
Absolutely.
Only 3 in hand. One of them, at the very least, being a 2k counter in the book that he searched off of Nami. So just wanting to shore himself up.
Yeah, I think you got the film Zorro from that life there. So that's going to be a nice card that you could potentially just cheat in. Having a 6k body on board for a cost of 2.
And now here comes the cost reduction effect of Smoker, 1 on underneath it. So the Nami is now a 0 cost, and that is making the Smoker leader 7,000 power now, because Smoker reads if there is a character with 0 cost on the board, it gets inherently an extra 1,000 power. Slide the Don under it, there's your 7k.
And
it's blocked away by the Capone.
Another Sakazuki, what's he gonna...
he's gonna pop Law.
Yeah, there we go, get rid of one of those blocker Laws.
Understandable there, I think, in that situation, to be able to get rid of one of those blocker Laws, stop the chain link happening from, we've seen it over the past 2 rounds, let alone since the inception of this Trafalgar Law deck.
Absolutely.
Had to get rid of a starter deck Smoker, which might hurt a little bit because of its double attack capabilities with a Don underneath it, but I think you just want to control ball presence here.
Yeah, at the moment that's exactly what you want to be doing. So Nani's going to go out and do a search now. Useful card to have.
There's
few
a
options
Zorro.
There we go, the Zorro comes to hand.
Has to bottom deck 2 restand Trafalgar Law, so over the one from the starter deck. That one probably smarts a little bit if you're Pedro, but I think with the board state that you're working with at the moment, you still feel relatively comfortable.
Yeah, as we said earlier on, it's a great combo that that Law with the other Law or with your Zorro,
There's just so many combos and so many matches that you can do with this deck.
Because you can hard play that Zorro, you can then potentially pick up one of the Namis, put that Law down, restand the Zorro,
Or even with the blocker Law, put that one down, pick the rested Zorro back up, put it back down again. Because it has rush, it can attack inherently once again.
Exactly, there's loads of combos you can do with Law and Zorro.
So here comes an Otama to reduce the Sakazuki. That's now down to 5k, so that's within jet pistol range if Pedro has one. Once again, he's setting aside 2 Don, just giving him that visual reminder and that visual indicator that he's got to set them aside for the Law ability. Now 2.
Gonna go with 5.
Okay. But I like this. This is whittling down some resources from the hand of Davor. If he wants to save that extra Sakazuki, or if Davor thinks that he's not really got much of an option to get it away, and it's an extra board advantage for Pedro.
Considering how hard it was for Davor to get stuff out, I think using resource to keep that out it's a bit of a gamble because it's not a blocker, but he is a big threat as well.
So here goes the leader Law, just swinging, just plainly 5k into the Sakazuki. Just a little bit of a wrestle in the mind at the moment of Davor, just counting up some options. I think he's flirting. There it is. That was what he was trying to toy with, the shockwave, and he is going to get rid of one of the Namis with its follow-up effect to be able to KO a 3 cost or less. But now Davor's just left with 1 card in hand.
Yeah.
And potentially 2 swings if Pedro wants to swing in with the blocker Law. Might be a bit early to be putting the blocker Law sideways, though.
I think so, because it's going to be less susceptible to that attack from a Sakazuki, as well as the leader, a smoker leader as well. So maybe you want to keep that Law for 1 or 2 more turns.
Yeah. Especially with how easily Smoker can power itself up there. We saw it the turn before. You've got another 2 1-drops on the side of the board of Pedro. So that would have buffed him up.
Bringing the Zoro out.
Yep.
Swinging again.
5k.
1 card in hand. Has to sacrifice it now. Lost all resource apart from 1 card in hand.
And now it's a choice. Is Pedro going to use the Law ability and swap something out for that final card in his hand, or is he going to stick some Don underneath? Oh, he's got a couple more in hand, actually. I beg your pardon.
He's got a few in hand. So potentially, as you were saying earlier, pop the Law back into hand. Pick up the Zoro, put the Zoro back. No, you can't, because
it would need to be a second Law.
It needs to be a second Law, yeah.
You need to take the Nami
you
off.
You have to take the Nami
put the
off
Law.
to do that, yeah.
So it is Otama that goes away, and it's Film Zoro, the one that you saw getting taken off of life.
Yeah, I think that's a wise decision, because now it just means next turn everything's looking a bit more promising now, depending on what Davor can put down.
He needs some blockers. He needs to find some of those Rosinantes that he's already trashed a couple or had to sacrifice a couple. And we are going to trash the Nami as well to just shore things up for another blocker in the form of Capone. So 2 blockers, 2 in hand as well for Pedro. No Don active as we pass it back to Davor with just 2 in hand, 10 Don active, and 1 card on the field, or 1 character on the field, I should say, in the form of Sakazuki.
Both players in 2 life, so I think Davor's well aware now. Next turn is going to be fairly dangerous, because literally
he's being backed into a little bit of an uncomfortable corner.
Yeah.
But it might be that I'm not quite sure how Davor's games have gone throughout the day, but there may be a feeling from Davor. This is a feeling that he's not had to feel throughout the day so far. Obviously, we're getting to the very end of it, round 8, where all of those wins are really coming together and are going to matter. We're starting to get towards that winning in territory into Top Cat tomorrow.
Exactly, and Pedro knows now that there are, look, you've got 2 6Ks there, 2 5Ks, 1 in your leader and 1 in a character. You're going to have 10 Don, stick 3 Don on those 5Ks, a couple of Don on those 6Ks. You've got 4 8K attacks coming through next turn with 2 life remaining. No blockers on field at the moment. So Davor really needs to do something here to get some board control, because it's not going to look promising next turn.
No.
What can Davor do?
I'm not quite sure if there's much. I think there might have been a Borsalino in hand from what I looked at, which would be massive in this situation if
9K
true.
Going into the Law now.
So this is into the leader.
No, sorry, into the Zoro.
Into the Zoro.
Apologies. Yeah, 9K going into Zoro.
So that makes another decision for Pedro. Does he want to commit one of the blockers? Obviously,
it's a smart move doing the 9K, because knowing that Pedro's only got 2 cards in hand, if they counters, it's not going to be enough. That Law's gone. So.
And if Pedro wants to commit a blocker, then that's an extra blocker that's gone. That's probably the smartest move. I think, getting rid of the 1 cost.
Absolutely. That's not going to be any good to you next turn. You want to keep those bodies on board so you can go in for the win. So
8 Don left for Davor.
I really don't think Davil's got an answer here.
No, I think he's got one of his cards is definitely a Kobe in hand, but to utilise the Kobe effect, you've got to trash a card from your hand. Now we're going to see a swing in. This is just 7k into the from the smoker. That's going to draw a block and a counter up as well. That protects the blocker law. 2, 3, 4. Are we going to see the... Okay, so there is the Borsellino. So there is the blocker, which is now up to 6,000 thanks to its opponent's turn effect.
So 1 card in hand, 4 clean attacks need to come through. Oh, sorry, 3 clean attacks need to come through, but there's a blocker in play, so... You know, if you're Pedro, you're like, I need to get 4 attacks through a decent size here. So...
And that 1 card in hand, we know for a fact, is 1k counter, it's Kobe.
Yeah.
But Pedro isn't aware of that, and he has to sequence this out properly, and sequence this out in a way that's going to secure him a 7-1 record going into the final round of the One Piece Regional Championships here.
Okay.
Ooh, okay, so reduction from the Otama, 2k of the Sakazuki. That's going to make it 5.
5k,
Yep.
Going to go in with a straight 5k swing.
Okay, so happy to continue controlling the
One Piece
board.
players, you have less than 10 minutes remaining on the round. Main event. Main event, One Piece players, you have less than 10 minutes remaining on the round.
Just 1 card in hand, it looks like for Pedro, 1 in hand as well for Davor. Now here comes...
6k attack.
Now here it comes, here comes the onslaught. 6k, having a look, no trigger. Oh, it's an interesting takeoff of life if he can survive this turn. But is he going to be able to live that long? Don getting ready to be placed under the Neko Mamushi. Just counting it out. Might be willing to just overcommit some Don here as well to make sure.
Pedro's going to have to keep that blocker out.
Yeah.
That Trafalgar Law blocker's going to have to stay in play.
Just a little bit of a conversation happening at the table at the moment. 3 Don being placed now underneath the Neko Mamushi. We'll see where this leads. Still just having a little bit of clarification. Looks like everything's fine. Situation's been resolved. And we can continue on. 6k is allowing. Big trigger. That's going to draw some cards for him there. And trashing the 10 cost Kuzan as well that he just got rid of from his life. That was Meteor Volcano that was pulled off of the life trigger. Necessary though to try and dig and find some more 2k counterbacks for Davor. Now here comes 8k.
Block.
Will force the block. Now here comes another swing. It will be time to swing and turn that blocker sideways. Is there enough in hand for Davor to counter away from this? This is 7,000. So needs to find 3k in a counter.
Game.
He's going to concede it.
Yep, had to. Pedro made the calculation there that only the smoker can attack, knowing that there's no real rush threat coming from his opponent. And
well, we wondered if third time was going to be a charm for Lord Dex on stream. That's exactly what's happened, and it's just going to show that this deck is going absolutely nowhere against a deck that has found some resurgence in Doflamingo, a completely new deck in Edward Newgate, as well as Smoker, a former winning deck in a European Regional Championships as well. Is Law going to take another crown here tomorrow, Taj?
it looks, the way that it's going, it looks like it. The last 3 games have been top games that we brought to the stream, and Law's just shown that it's still dominating, you know? And I think it's going to be a lot of Law represented tomorrow when we see the top cut.
Well, before tomorrow's action, we have one more round ready for you guys to take a little bit of a look at. Round 9, the final round of Day 1's Swiss action here at the One Piece Regional Championships is coming up after this break. And welcome back for the final time on today's day one action here at the One Piece Trading Card Game Regional Championships live from the UK Games Expo at the NEC here in Birmingham. It's myself, Ben Bluey Fitzpatrick here alongside my good friend Taj.
Yep.
It's almost the end of the day.
Yeah, final round. We've got table number 1 on table here, streamed. They had a deck check that needed to be done, so slight delay for us getting on stream, but we're going to be ready to get underway very shortly. Looking forward to this game. It's Strawbeard versus Strawbeard.
It's another one of those fixtures and another one of those matchups that we're probably expecting to see quite a lot of and quite a prevalence here today across all levels of the tables. I think with what we saw in the previous feature of Newgate, of how well it can do and how strong it can be in getting up, especially when that 9-drop 10,000 power character Newgate gets put onto the board. You see that we have our undefeated player, Will at the bottom of your screen, and George, returning player, onto the stream today. He lost against Panther Can earlier in round 7, looking to try and win and in his way into Top Cat.
Yeah, absolutely. We did see that amazing game earlier on with a double Otaku using the lore ability and Jet Pistol, which cost George that game. But George has been consistent all day. Will has been totally consistent, not dropping a single game. This is going to be a really interesting matchup. Both very similar decks. George, as we saw earlier on, not running any blockers.
Yeah.
So
it's an interesting style of build of Strawbeard, isn't it? Very aggressive and trying to really punch through. And I mean, it's worked out for him a treat so far today, hasn't it? 7 wins, just the 1 loss, which was the feature match earlier in round 7 on stream. And we are pretty much about ready, I think, to get underway on the final game in Swiss here today. And Will is just going to start things off with a 1 Don pass and take 1 life.
As you were mentioning, George is not using any blockers, but using Nico Robin and Vista to good effect from the deck, and they have removal tools there. Sometimes you don't need the blocker, sometimes it's good to have your own characters that you keep on play that can just use their ability to knock out your opponent's characters. So yeah, we'll see some of that action as well.
Especially in the mirror match as well, when you're both already taking life naturally because of your leader's ability at your end of turn. You have to take 1 life to sort of balance out the fact that you're a 6,000 power, naturally a 6 life leader.
Yeah.
So being able to just kind of go quickly and punch in those like extra couple of pieces of damage to be a little bit unnatural and take the game away is, might be able to prove in effect here for either player for today.
Yeah, and with these obviously leaders mirroring each other, they're both 6k, so we know that that benefit doesn't pay off this time, but they're both in the same boat. They're going to be losing life every turn. They're going to be getting extra card in hand every turn, essentially. How well are each of these guys going to utilize that to their benefit?
So Will at the bottom of your screen is just currently in the middle of a Nami search. He's going to take a Radical Beam, a favourite event of these Strawbeard-based decks at the moment, and red decks in general, because of that 1 cost and being able to just bump up to 4k with some upside as well. The turn passed over to George. He's going to swing just happily straight in with leader to 6k, and I take a peek at George's hand. It looks like gas.
It does, doesn't it?
It's really strong. So, here comes the counter, and now he's going to play the promo Luffy. This is the film deck promo Luffy, the red film Uta deck that came out, God, that feels like eons ago now, when everyone was trying to get their hands on that sealed red Uta promo pack. But nice little 6k body for 4. We'll be able to put some extra pressure on, and vitally in this mirror matchup, swing in without any dom.
Yeah, absolutely.
So here we go with another leader swing, and this time from Will perspective. Going to 2k counter eye with a Sanji. It's one of the few variations and differences between these two players in these decks is that George is utilising the Sanji from OP01. With the add a card from the life to your hand, the character gains 2,000 power during this turn, and then also give this character up to 2 rested dom. It's a card that we saw play in a top cutting deck in the German regionals in a Zorro build. Niccolo Castellani, he played it at 4 copies in a top 8 Zorro build. Seeing it here, at least as a counter option at the moment for George. Perhaps that's kind of the trade-off with not having the blockers in the list.
Yeah, absolutely. So, Wolvolo Riel places a Frankie, vanilla Frankie there from the star deck, I believe. Big body on the board.
And that's going to answer that vanilla 6k as well from the Luffy that was played down the turn before.
Exactly.
So real back and forth momentum at the moment. Wolvolo trying to take this game to become the only undefeated player in Swiss Day 1 and make it into Top Cut as the #1 seed. George simply looking for the win and in. Doing the numbers a little bit before we came back to stream, it looks like every X1 should make Top Cut.
Yep.
And we'll be expecting about 4 or 5 X2s, depending on the win percentages, making it in tomorrow's day 2. And here comes Rush Luffy. That's going to swing in now. That's going to be 7k. No unblockable, but no blockers to worry about on board. Well, L'Oreal has the counter in 2k, however, in hand.
Both players doing really well, just countering their attacks every turn. Having to take life, obviously, with that Edward Newgate's leader ability at the end of each of their own turns.
So it looks like now that 7 Don active and available for Wolvolo. He's going to tap all of it. Is this going to be? This is the first time we've seen today Port Gastee Ace.
Yep. 7 drop. When it comes in, it reduces 2 characters by 3,000. And that then, because both those characters are rested, it gives the player an ability to go in now and start, pinging those characters away.
Yeah, it's a fantastic pressure piece, isn't it? Like you say,
Absolutely.
rightfully, either permitting on-board pressure there to try and get rid of the 2 characters that you reduce down, or either to just continue to pressure life. Interesting fact about Ace as well in some of the Dex lists that we've seen across the world. Edward Prado in the Arlington Regional Championships that happened about a month or so back played the Moby Dick variant of Edward Newgate, made top 4, no copies.
There we go. It's,
So both board pieces there being taken away as well, utilising Ace and the Frankie. Obviously the Ace getting Rush as soon as it comes in and popping the 2 characters for minus 3,000 power. And now we've got, 8 Don and a very empty field for George.
George's got some work to do here.
Might be wishing at this point that he might be having 1 or 2 of those blockers that we've been hearing are a little bit valuable in decks in one piece, being able to protect your life.
Absolutely.
Just flicking through the hand here, we see there's an Ace of George's own. There's also a Newgate character, as well as a couple.
The only problem is, obviously, the Ace will have Rush when it comes in.
Yeah.
So, potentially can take out 2 things.
I mean, you'd have to target the Ace and Frankie, surely. I mean, they're the biggest threats. You don't need to commit Don in order to attack with them. Obviously, you've still got the Dadan, the 2 Namis, but you would have to bump them up quite considerably. It would be, 3 Don underneath the Dadan, 4 Don underneath the Nami in order to attack, and that's what exactly we're going to be seeing. So here comes Ace. That is 7k naturally. With now the
reduce the Ace and Frankie Wolvolo.
Yep, so the Frankie's now 6k, the Ace, the Frankie now 3k, Ace now 4k, I beg your pardon. And it's going to be 8k into the 4,000 of Ace. Big grip full of cards in hand for Wolvolo. That is going to take this one down. Yep, it's going to go. So that's a little win for George. You're now swinging in with the leader, 6 into 3. Needs 4k's worth of counter, so it's only 2 cards that he needs to have in hand. Question is he going to want to commit the resources? No Don available, so there's no Radical Beams that are happening. We know he's got a Radical Beam in hand because he searched it off of the first Nami earlier in the game. So let's see what he decides to do here. He's pulling 2k counters out, and he's going to want to save the Frankie.
Yep. So save the Frankie, committed 2 2k counters there. So
both the Brook and the Otama, the choice of counter there. So 2 more Don being added with a pass of the turn. Now up to 9 for Warwilla Real, and he's just going to turn them all sideways. I think we're about to feel the power.
Yeah.
There's big character. Edward Newgate is going to boost up the leader as well, up to 8,000 power. And remember that one sticks around till Warwilla Real's next turn.
And no longer has to take life.
Yeah.
Which is a very crucial part of the game now.
Yeah, no life is going to be taken through the leader's ability this turn, because the character says that if you have 2 or less, you don't take another one when this card is first played, on the turn this card is first played. And so a counter off of a swing, and it is over to George. But what Warwilla Real doesn't know is that there's actually 2 Mind Drop Newgate options. If George wants to put one down, I think he might be having still a couple of flashbacks and nightmares after what happened to the hit that his Newgate the last time that he played one. We'll see if this one suffers a better fate. This is an 8k swing into the currently 8k leader Newgate with the Portgas D ace. Almost said manga ace there for a second. Freudian slip perhaps from my end. 1k counter away, and now here's George's response. A Newgate of his own, and that's going to boost the leader up to 8k and force and allow the George's leader to swing into the opposing leader. Smart sequencing there, I think, as well.
Yeah, I think so, definitely. Played that the best way possible. Again, committing another card to counter.
Yep.
2 cards in hand now.
As Warwilla Real is now going to manage to find his way up to 10 Don. You see the dice you see being moved there by George. The leader Newgate is back down to 6,000 natural, and if there's no other 9 cost that's counting down, we'll have to take a life at the end of this turn. But with no blockers, 3 attacks need to go through. So is that 4 cards in hand? Is there a route to gain here for Warwilla Real?
Once again, One Piece players, this is our final round of today's event. The top 16 players will advance to day 2 top cut tomorrow, and everyone else eligible for prizing can collect it at Tournament HQ.
2 lives, so he needs to get 3 attacks through.
You have 12 minutes remaining on your round.
Can happen.
Well, it's going to go conservatively initially, at least. This is just 7 into 7 of the ace. So just 1k counter is all it needs to keep that one around for now. Obviously, you've still got 10,000 power minimum on your way into possibly a face or into the ace once again, without any Don if this one gets countered. Just see George there just having a look at his hand. Looks like there's 2 cards for counter.
Yeah, there's a Brook
and the Machina that's at the front.
Both 2k counters.
George is going to commit one of them, so that's a counter, and it's going to keep the ace around for now. Now you see Warwilla Real counting up his Don. Going to put the one underneath the Frankie first.
7.
So that's another 7 swing. And again, this is smart sequencing here at the moment from Warwilla Real. It's just poking lightly and gingerly with some of the lower cost attackers, the lower power attackers, just trying to tease some of those counters out from hand, knowing full well that a 10k swing is very, very difficult to try and do anything against without an event card in hand with the size of George's hand at the moment. And the counter is committed. So we'll see now if Warwilla Real is going to dump a load of Don underneath Newgate. Tap. Load. So there's still 3 Don active. This
sacrifices the Nami.
It's going to be the Luffy. Okay, so this is another 7 swing into the ace. And this time it does have to go down. And now the 10 should be able to swing freely into the currently 8k Newgate. Remember, that's still 8k from the character Newgate that's still around.
Takes it, looks at the trigger.
It looks like no trigger to fire off. And Warwilla Real will pass turn, take life, both players down to 1. George has a decision to make. as to how he wants to try and play out this turn, and even perhaps himself try and swing forwards for game.
Yeah.
3 cards in hand, 2 Don open. We see in the bottom right hand side of your screen the peak of what is in Wal Villarreal's hand.
Yeah, that's 2 radical beams, obviously.
Counting up his Don, sizing up his options, probably even the statistical probability, knowing how well these 2 players have played so far throughout these days.
Based on where both players are, those radical beams are going to give a plus 4,000 for a cost of 1. Great value there. So,
but it's whether George recognises that and wants to go in for the swing, or whether he wants to try and control Wal Villarreal's board here a little bit and hope that there's no rushes that are going to be able to come on the pushback.
Yeah, it's a difficult decision here now.
Minimum 10 and 6k separate swings are definitely going to come in. But the question is the targets of those swings. George will have to, of course, take a life at the end of this turn as well if he decides not to drop a 9-cost Newgate.
Yep.
Just adjusting his seat, figuring out what the best strategy is going to be. All on the line here, particularly for George. He's in a win-and-in situation to guarantee himself top 16 and a place in tomorrow's Top Cut. It will be streamed live here on the official Organised Play Events Twitch channel from 10 o'clock BST, British Standard Time. So be sure to follow along to the channel and keep your notifications on to not miss a moment of the Top Cut action tomorrow. Of course, if you missed any of the Day 1 action here today, all of the games will be archived on the Organised Play Events official YouTube channel following the commencement and following the ending of this weekend's event. So be sure to keep an eye out for that one as well on the Organised Play Events YouTube channel. All the links will be available on the official socials for Organised Play
George
Events.
taken an awful long time to make this decision now, deciding what to do.
Well, he's got to.
Yeah.
He's got to really think this one through.
This is a lot of mathematical calculations. I mean, the way I'm looking at it, it looks like George's game potentially could be over, but
Looked like he was just getting ready to chuck 7 Don underneath the leader Newgate. So that would put that up to, what, 13,000?
13,000 going into
the leader Newgate. So this is just going to be a Hail Mary swing and a hope and a pray for game. Just doing his calculations, and I think the consideration might be paying off here, unless this life card is something really, really serious. The life is taken. 13k once again is going to go into life. Radical beam. Two radical beams. The Dadan's gone as well because of the effect with the Don underneath it. KOA 3k or less.
That's 8k boost.
That was enough.
That was enough because it takes his leader up to 14k with those 2 radical beams at that time.
Yeah.
And this is going to be game.
You're rightfully so, and I think this very well might just be a formality and a case of stick 10 Don underneath. There's no Don up and available. We'll see how Wal Villarreal wants to play this one out. Obviously has to consider this and think this one out for himself. So 10 to 12, 14, 16.
16k swing going in to leader, I'm assuming.
It's going to be 16k swing,
yeah,
and there it is.
It is. Game.
Wal Villarreal will advance to tomorrow's Top Cut as the number 1 seed, the undefeated 9-0 record. George will be hoping that results have gone his way to book his place into Top Cut, but very well played there from Wal Villarreal. Commiserations there to George. We certainly hope that we do get to see him tomorrow in Top Cut, but you can't help but think that with the list that he's compiled and perhaps with the way that he decided to play that one out, that there was perhaps a different way.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, almost a mirror deck coming up, a few slight differences between the two of them there, but yeah, unfortunately George didn't have enough in the tank to push through. I think having those 2 radical beams in hand was perfect timing. Out of your 3 cards, so I have 2 radical beams, 2 Don open, just on the perfect timing, and the calculation just weren't in George's favour.
Yeah.
George was sitting there for a while trying to do the maths.
He
So
really,
how can I get this through?
He
And
really had to
unfortunately-
consider it, didn't he?
Yeah.
He took a long time thinking, he had ace in hand, do I play the ace, try and go for board control and then hope that no rushes come on the following turn? Do I just go for it and go the Hail Mary? There's no blockers out, you've got 3 cards in hand, 2 up. Is this going to work in my favour? And unfortunately, George just loses the dice roll, loses the coin flip, and moves to 7-2. Well, that's going to do it. That is the end of the day 1 action. We know confirmed we have at least one Edward Newgate deck into Top Cut tomorrow. How many more are there going to be? Make sure to tune in tomorrow to find out how many Edward Newgate decks are going to be in. Any final thoughts from yourself here, Taj, on what we've seen throughout the day?
Yeah, I think it's been an absolutely amazing day. We've seen a variety of decks to begin with. And when we started to do top table, we started to see what's dominating, and obviously it's the law, it's the straw beard.
Yeah.
We're going to see plenty of that tomorrow. So yeah, excited to see how we get on tomorrow. Don't forget, obviously, support the stream here as well. If you're not following already, follow the stream so you can get notification of when we go live tomorrow. Donations are appreciated as well to keep the streams going for future events, and consider subscribing as well if you got one of those free Amazon Prime subs. But we do appreciate all of you guys tuning in.
Absolutely. The support on the stream and the numbers and the love that we've seen on the stream. We've been hearing from our streaming crew. The wonderful Usman to our right hand side of us has been fantastic throughout the day, even when we had a few technical issues in the breaks. Thankfully it was during a break that our setup decided that it didn't want to play the game anymore, but we kicked it into life, gave it a little a towel down, and we're back and we've managed to close out the day. That is going to do it then. Thank you from everyone here at OPE for tuning in and supporting throughout day 1. I've been Bluey. This has been Poketage. We'll see you tomorrow for Top Cut.
Have a great day.